Want cookies for everyone without baking all day? These sheet pan cookies are chewy, gooey, and bake all at once. Hi Bowl Bakers, I'm Gemma Stafford and I've been a professional chef for 20 years and I'm going to show you at home how to make the ultimate bakery style cookie. We'll melt butter for a chewy center, stir in brown sugar for caramel flavor, add in any mix-ins you want and bake so everyone gets their favorite flavor. This sheet pan cookie recipe is the best on the internet with 8 customizable unique flavors. So let's get baking. So for this recipe, I wanted the dough to be extra special. So I took a few different things from some of my favorite cookie dough recipes, like my crazy dough, my best ever chocolate chip cookies, my chewy chocolate chip cookies, my snickerdoodles, and I kind of mixed them all up and I came up with this dough, which I think is pretty fantastic. It's gooey, it's a little bit crisp on the outside. It is perfect to cook in a sheet pan. So to make the dough, we have a big bowl here and we have melted butter to start out. I love when melted butter is the base of my cookies because it always means you get that just set like gooey center. Into this, I'm going to add in some white sugar and also some brown sugar. Now the white sugar adds moisture and sweetness. The brown sugar adds also extra moisture, but also flavor. You have kind of caramel tones from the brown sugar. So it makes it really lovely and just gives it like instant flavor. Into this, we are going to add in some eggs and a little bit of vanilla. Actually, not a little bit, a lot of bit of vanilla extract. I love vanilla extract in my cookies. And this sheet pan cookie is no exception. Now, just with a hand whisk, you do not need to make these on a machine. They are so simple. You're just going to whisk it all up together by hand. So this is the base. Just give it a whisk for 2 to 3 minutes until it's a bit light and fluffy. No lumps. And it looks like that. Now for our dry ingredients, I have some all-purpose flour here. If you're gluten-free, you can totally make this cookie too. Just use the 1-for-1 all-purpose gluten-free flour. We have some salt in here, which will really bring out the flavor of that brown sugar, also the butter and the vanilla. And then we have some baking soda. Now my favorite cookies that have the crinkle on top and they're just set underneath have baking soda. No baking powder because that can make it a little bit cakey. I want just baking soda. So I formulated this recipe just so you get the gooeyest cookie. But it's not just one cookie, it's a whole sheet pan of them. Give those a mix together. Just like to combine the raising agent first with the dry ingredients and then just add your dry into your wet. I wish I knew a cookie recipe like this growing up because in Ireland all we had were what we call biscuits, which are dry cookies that you would have with a cup of tea, which I thought were delicious at the time. But now I've been in America for 17 years and I know that there are so many different types of cookies different from a dry biscuit. These are just my absolute, like when you think of a bakery style, big, thick, gooey cookie, that's what this is. And then with a spatula, just mix in your dry ingredients until there's no more flour. So what we're making right here is pretty much a blank canvas cookie dough that we are going to add our own customizable flavors into. Lovely. It really takes no time at all. And then it's done. Now this cookie dough, as you can see, is a little bit soft. So here's what we're going to do. To work with it, you really have to chill it for at least 2 hours so you can handle it and you can add in the mix-ins. So if you have the luxury of time when making your sheet pan cookies, not only can you prepare in advance, but the flavor and texture of your cookies will be superior. So that is my advice to you. Let's get this into the fridge. So our dough is chilled and it is ready to use. So this is the really fun part. This is why I love these kinds of recipes. Number one, you can get your kids involved. I have a 5-year-old. He is more than happy to make his own cookie, any flavor that he wants. And what you want to do is divvy up this dough into 8 pieces. So you're talking in and around, you can eyeball it. I mean, there's no wrong way or right way to do it. In and around 200 grams per ball. So 8 balls and around 200 grams, or if you're using cups, around 3/4 of a cup of dough. In and around there. Don't stress if it's not exactly 200 grams. So I talked about chilling this dough for a few days, but here is my secret weapon as a chef who always shows up to events with freshly baked goods. I make this dough off in advance. I put it in bags. I keep it in the freezer for a minimum of 8 weeks. Honestly, it's probably in there for longer. And I can always have cookies wherever I go, freshly baked. People always wonder why. And it's just such a simple way to entertain, to feed people. And it's fun. Everybody loves a cookie and it's just easy. And by making your dough in advance, the flavor will just be better. So that is my secret weapon that I'm sharing with you guys. So I accidentally kind of set up my station in a very organized way, which I'm finding quite delightful. So we are going to start out by making our first cookie flavor. Let's start out with a classic. Here I have my cookie dough and I have some bittersweet chopped chocolate chip cookie bar. I don't use chips. You might know that about me or not. I have a controversial video on TikTok telling people to stop using chocolate chips. Some people loved it, some people hated it. What are you going to do? It's the internet, you can't win. Anyway, just mix in your chocolate into your dough ball and pop it into your sheet pan. Here I have actually another classic. I have my dough ball and I'm going to put in some smooth peanut butter. I'm going to mix that into my dough. I'm going to put some peanuts in there for texture. I know I said smooth peanut butter and then I added in peanuts, but the peanuts in chunky peanut butter are not like fresh and chunky. So add in your own nuts there. And then I'm going to put that over here. We're going to shape it into our pan later and I'm going to put the jelly on top also. Okie dokie, moving on. Our next flavor is a classic. Some people, I think you either love it or you hate it. Do you like it, Joey?
I love it.
Raisin and oatmeal.
I do actually.
You're just going to mix those ingredients together. What about you, Mason? Do you like it?
Oh yeah.
You have to have some classic cookies on your pan. Mix in those oats. There we go. Pop them on there. So to balance that out, this is one of my personal favorites, a double chocolate cookie, which has cocoa powder in the dough. This one might get a little bit messy. You can do it in a bowl if you want. I probably wouldn't have George do this one. That'd be living dangerously. Cocoa powder and chocolate chunks. Mix that all together to form one dough. Pick up all that cocoa. Like I said, this is one of my favorite cookies because it's like if a cookie met a brownie. It's like really rich, it's fudgy, it's absolutely delicious. Now our next one is a really fun one to say the least. This is funfetti. So I have chocolate chips and sprinkles. I will admit I'm a bit particular about my sprinkles. And I didn't have the sprinkles that I want. I only had Jimmy's. And then I had the like non-Perriel's to make this cookie. And I wasn't happy about that. So I am not ashamed to say I overnighted these sprinkles to myself because I love these confetti sprinkles. And they just remind me of like birthday, you know, bakery style birthday cake. And let me tell you, these are my flavors. You can make any flavor you like. If you want to do just one sheet pan, all the same flavor, you can do that too. Next up is Nutella and hazelnuts. And then just fold those together. You don't want to mix it too much. You do want to keep the ripple of the Nutella in there. So just a quick roly-poly foldini. And then onto your pan. A classic, an oldie but a goodie. M&M's. I used to adore. I used to think that was very American to have like an M&M cookie, especially a cookie like this, which is like gooey. And then last but not least, my son's favorite, a s'more cookie. Marshmallows, crushed up graham crackers, and some chocolate chip. You have to work all those things in there. And then our last one in there. Now all you have to do is just push each cookie into their respective corners and sides and try to keep it as even as possible so you have 8 distinctive squares. So the cookies will spread while they're baking, but just get them into their little boxes. And what I like to do, especially if you're serving this for a party and you're going to put the whole thing down on a table, is just add a few extra, mix-ins. If your chocolate chip cookies need a few extra chocolates or we need some sprinkles on top, we want some more M&Ms, make them as beautiful and as aesthetically pleasing as possible. And then lastly, we're going to want to add in our jam and just give that a swirl into that cookie. Mix it around. I'm going to put a few more peanuts on top. If you want to do a sheet pan with no nuts, that is totally fine too. Like I said, you can get really creative here. And that's it. Look at that. There is literally a flavor for every cookie lover here. So what you can do now is bake it off fresh, or you can wrap it up and keep it in the fridge for up to 2 days. And that way you can just have it ready to go for your party. But I can't wait that long. So let's get this sucker into the oven. Bake your cookies at 375 degrees Fahrenheit, 190 degrees Celsius for roughly around 30 minutes. You want them to be baked, but still gooey underneath, so there's a real sweet spot. When you see your cookies coming out of the oven, prepare to be amazed. They look absolutely fantastic, really fun. I love all the color, the different textures, how different and vibrant everything looks. This is the kind of recipe you want to go to. Get your whole family involved, add your own flavors, add their own style, and really have fun making it. And you will end up with a sheet pan of cookies that satisfy every cookie craving, all in one. Sheet pan cookies are definitely the way to go because you get a nice crisp top, but then all of the inside is gooey chocolate dough. It is absolutely delicious. I really hope you enjoyed this recipe. Thanks so much for watching. Stick around. I have hundreds of videos for you to check out, and I'll see you back here again really soon.